Hello and welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I am a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything. So if you guys like this content and would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment on it, share it, and just stick around. Also, if you need any help with your particular situation, I offer one-on-one coaching, email coaching, small group coaching, as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. So if you're interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. You can click on them and they're going to take you to my website. With all that being said, let's dive into today's video. Today we're going to talk about a concept that is quite big within the manifesting community, especially within the people who resonate more with the law of assumption teachings. And that is the concept first introduced by Neville Goddard himself of everyone is you pushed out. Specifically, Neville said, I believe his words were, the whole world is you yourself pushed out. So we're going to explain what all this means today, what it refers to, what it is, and how it applies to us as conscious manifestors, both in our daily lives and in our daily manifestations. So you may have heard that as human beings, we can only ever perceive our own reality. What does that mean? And I know at first glance it might seem like it's science fiction or it's a bit too woo-woo, a bit too crazy, a bit out there. Actually, it's not. Actually, it's a pretty simple concept, and hopefully you'll realize why it's so simple once I explain it. But as human beings, our center is our brain. So every stimuli that we receive from the external world, from the outer world, through our five senses, so every image we see, every sound we hear, everything we taste, everything we smell, everything we feel with our touch, we all perceive that through our five senses, and it all first goes through our brain. What happens then is that our brain applies its own filters, and then what it gives us is a projection of that stimuli, a projection of that experience. So what we actually perceive from the outer world is our own experience through the filters of our own mind, through the filters of our own brain. And that's why we say we can only ever perceive our own reality. We can only ever perceive external reality through our own individual filters. And this goes for everything. It goes for our experiences as well. It goes for our interactions with others. It goes for our relationships. It goes for our emotions. It goes for how we perceive situations and things that happen to us and in our lives, and things that happen to others, and things that happen in the world. Everything is filtered through our own mental filters, and what we receive is a projection. And from that projection, we draw our own conclusions, we draw our own interpretations of things, of others, of our relationships, of our experiences. And this is how we operate day to day. So this is why each one of us is only ever able to perceive, ultimately, their own reality. And to illustrate that a little better, let's take the example of two friends who are having the same experience. They're having a joint experience. Let's say you're going out to dinner with a friend, or let's say you went out to see a movie together with a friend. So what happens is, even though your external experience is, if not identical, at the very least, very, very, very similar, like you went to the same restaurant, you ordered from the same menu, you talked to the same waiter, you were in the same environment, you sat among the same people. Or if you went to see a movie, you were in the same movie theater, you sat next to each other, you saw the same movie, same actors, etc., etc. Regardless of that, even though you had essentially a joint experience, each one of you is going to retain different things, is going to put their focus on different things, is going to put their attention on different things. When later you remember that experience, each one of you is going to remember it a little differently, if not a lot differently. And that is due to each one of your individual interpretations. That's what I mean. So each one of us perceives the outer reality through our own individual mental filters. And that's why we retain different things. That's why we're impressed by different things. That's why different things catch our attention, and so on. So we each always have our own individual experience, even if we're having that experience jointly with someone else or with many other people. Now we need to be a little careful here because You may hear some people in the community actually claim and say and teach that others do not exist. And they're going to say, no one exists outside of you. And unfortunately, some people take it quite literally. There are coaches out there who quite literally believe that. And that's fine. That's their prerogative to believe that. I actually think that's a bit absurd because it does not actually mean that others literally don't exist. I mean, we experience them, we interact with them, we form friendships with them, we form relationships with them, we work with them, we might fight with them, whatever. They do exist. They're as real as everything else in our outer world, in our reality. But we still perceive our interactions with them, whatever the interaction is, whatever the relationship is, through our own lenses, through our own experience, through our own mental filters. And that applies 100% of the time to 100% of our interactions. And that's all it means. It doesn't mean that others literally do not exist, or they're not real, or other people are fake, or things like that that you may hear in the community. What it means is we all live in our own individual bubble, so to speak, for the reasons I just explained, because we each have our own individual mental filters, and we each filter our reality differently through our individual filters. And these bubbles actually interact as we interact with others, and we may even catch glimpses of what is going on in their bubble, from how they behave, from how they treat us, from how they react to things or how they respond to things, from things they tell us, from opinions they express, from beliefs they express. Through our interactions with other people, we do catch glimpses of what is going on in their own bubble. However, at the end of the day, and ultimately, even this information gets filtered through our own brain, through our own mental filters, through our own lens. So ultimately, we still perceive it through our own individual lens, through our own individual reality. So even though our bubbles do interact and they do coexist and they do mingle all the time, every day, ultimately, each one of us still experiences their own individual reality through their own individual lenses. That's all it is. So this then explains the concept of everyone is you pushed out and the concept of everyone else is our mirror, because if we are only able to perceive our individual realities, then it goes without saying that what others mirror back to us is also filtered through our own individual perceptions. And so when we change ourselves, remember Neville said no one to change but self. So when we change ourselves and we change our own perceptions and we change our dominant stories and we change our dominant feelings and our dominant assumptions and dominant beliefs, it may look as if others have changed. It may look very realistic, as if others have changed, but what has ultimately changed is our own perception, our own vibe, if you will, our own assumptions, our own beliefs, our own way of looking at things, our own way of looking at that person, our own way of looking at the world, our own way of looking at the relationship with that person, our own way of looking at ourselves in relation with that person. This is what has changed. And then it gets projected through our own individual lens, our own individual filter, back to us through the other person. And that's why we say that other people are mirrors of who we are within and what we hold within. And this is why we say, do you want to change someone else? Do you want to see something different and experience something different from them? Well, change yourself. Change your perceptions. And you will see them change. They will mirror that back to you. They will reflect that back. But this is very different to actually treating others as puppets. They're not our puppets and we're not puppet masters. So unfortunately, you're going to hear that here and there in the manifesting community that some people treat others as their puppets. They have to do what I want. They have to do what I say. They have no choice, this and this and that. It's not like that. You are just changing yourself and your perceptions, and they mirror it back because ultimately you are perceiving your own perceptions. Your own perceptions get reflected back to you. That's what it is. And it just happens to other people. But personally, I don't think it's a good thing to treat other people as if they're your puppets, as if they have to conform, as if they have to do what you want them to do. I mean, we need to see each other with love and with understanding and compassion. And we need to realize that we're all individuals within the same one consciousness. I'm going to get that in a minute. But we're all individuals. We all have souls. We all have emotions. We're all humans, and we just need to respect one another, and we need to love one another ultimately. And we need to realize that what is projected back to us is our own projections of reality. So if we want to change the projection, we change our own perceptions. That's the whole concept of everyone is you pushed out. It's actually quite simple. And we ourselves also mirror others in their own individual realities, in their own individual bubbles, in their own perceptions of reality, in their own perceptions of us, in their own perceptions of the external world. We just fit into their narrative, just as they fit into our narrative. So, like I said, our bubbles intermingle, our bubbles interact, our bubbles coexist, and we're always in interaction. But ultimately, each one of us perceives reality individually. It's a very individual thing. And this is why we say that we're each other's mirrors. Now, the reason we mirror back to each other and we project back and forth, and what I alluded to just now, is that we are all part of one consciousness. We all share a oneness. We're all interconnected. We're all interrelated. We're not separate, actually. We are part of the one consciousness that permeates the whole universe, the whole creation. And we are all parts, each one of us is an individual expression of that one consciousness. But we are all part of that one consciousness. We are all part of that shared identity, if you like, that shared consciousness. And that's why we're all so interconnected. That's why we're not separate from one another. And that's why we're able to actually mirror and project back and forth. Mirror and project back and forth. This is what our life is. This is what our daily interactions are. This is what our relationships are. This is what our friendships are. This is what our daily routine is. This is our whole lives. It's an interaction with others with whom we're not separate. We're actually one. We all share into the same one consciousness. And we all project our own individual reality out. And each one of us mirrors each other constantly, back and forth. But at the same time, we all perceive reality individually. And we all interpret reality and other people and relationships and our situations in our lives individually, through our own individual lens. So I hope this makes sense. I intend that this has helped. I'm going to wrap up this video here. As always, I very much appreciate you guys being on this channel and watching this content. And until the next video, take care and bye-bye.